Hey there, neighbor. Welcome to Wild Homestead Living. I'm Kevin.
And I'm Julie, and we're putting this out a few days late because I've been recovering from surgery. But if you're interested in that story, we covered it in a recent update.
But today's video is about what we did on the homestead here in November. And as expected, with November came the fall rains here in the Northwest. And we had a lot of not only water, but leaves falling from the sky as well. So we'll talk a little bit about how we handled that, as well as a new tool that we got inside to use to help us preserve food long term.
Let's get started.
The area we live is called the Snohomish Valley. It's rich in agricultural history, and the Snohomish River runs through the heart of it. In November, storms brought heavy rains throughout much of the month, and we spent a lot of the time inside looking out at scenes like this. All of that water accumulated in the river, and the river eventually overflowed its banks. The entire valley flooded, including Kevin's main route into work, as seen here. Not only did a lot of water fall from the sky during the month, leaves fell as well. When we designed our main garden, we put in these gravel pathways, primarily to deter slugs. Now that fall's arrived, a lot of leaf litter has fallen in here, and these wet leaves are really good hiding places for slugs. So we're going to go ahead and clear the leaves out. We're not going to throw them away, though. We're going to put them in the bed outside the garden. The leaves are going to give us some free mulch, so it's nice free nutrients for those garden beds. They're also going to provide cover for slugs and small insects that birds and some of the small mammals around here will enjoy eating throughout the winter. So dual purpose, we're going to enrich these beds with some free mulch, and we're going to give a little bit of enrichment to the local wildlife as well. So back in spring, when we set up our patio garden, we also put in this temporary fencing, primarily to keep out deer and rabbits. Right now in November, we're re-siding the house, and they're about to tear off all of the siding, take down this cover here. We need to get these plants out of the way, and the fencing as well. The deer and rabbits are still around, so we can't just move the plants out onto the lawn. We'll be putting them in protected areas because we do want to continue to be good neighbors to the wildlife while this project is ongoing. And we also want to make sure that our plants are still around when it's completed. Throughout the summer, we kept seeing tree frogs that were using our strawberry patch, so we're going to do a thorough check before we seal these in the greenhouse to make sure that we don't have any passengers on board. This one looks clear. With the change in weather in November, there also came a change in both the behavior and visibility of the wildlife on our property. Many animals hunkered down to stay out of the extreme weather, while others had simply moved on with the changing of the seasons. One species that was still highly visible was the black-tailed deer, which we saw regularly on the trail cam near the house. The trail cam in our woods failed in the wet conditions, so we will have to replace that in the near future. Much like the local wildlife, we too hunkered down during the bad weather. But once there was a break in the weather and the floodwaters receded, we got out to enjoy a walk along the Snohomish Valley Trail. Back on the homestead, we were excited to try out the new food preservation tool that Julie received for her birthday.
So here we are in our kitchen, and you might notice some pounding outside because we're still in the middle of our siding project, but I'm gonna be using this All-American canner for the first time, and I wanted to share it on film. So Kevin bought me this All-American canner for my birthday this month, and we are gonna can some garbanzo beans. So this is the book that's been recommended to me, and it's the one that I'm starting with, and it says that for 7 quarts of beans, like we've got in here, to process them for an hour and a half on 10 pounds of pressure. This pressure canner has two ways of measuring. It has the dial, which is sort of just like the added bonus, and then this, which is the weighted gauge. There's a 10. So I'm going to pop this on. I'm going to turn this to medium. We're going to wait until this gets to 10 pounds, and then from there, we'll wait an hour and a half, and then at that point, we'll turn it off, let it cool down, and pull out the beans and see how it went. All right, so we have processed the beans for the recommended amount of time, which was an hour and a half at 10 pounds of pressure. We've let it come all the way down to 0 pressure, which means it's now time to open it. But these clamps are so tight that my hands can't do it, so Kevin's gonna come and do the job for us. Ooh, so it looks like none of them cracked, which is really good. It looks like there's still a lot of heat happening in these, and what we're gonna do is just let it sit like this for about 10 minutes open before we individually pull the jars out to cool for 12 to 24 hours on the towel. So it's cleaning day here on the homestead, and we're gonna clean the house from top to bottom and get it spick and span. I've been making my own cleaning products for quite a while now, and I found that it's a great way to make sure the air in our home is clean. We're saving money by buying in bulk, which also reduces the amount of waste that we produce, and it gives us a really nice finished product.
So there's a glimpse at what we've been up to in November. One thing we didn't cover very much in this update is that we're also still in the middle of our house residing project. So hopefully we'll have an update on how that turns out next month.
And if you like the content in our videos and you're interested in getting started with homesteading, we have a really awesome new guide to share with you. You can download it for free on our website. It has 36 different ideas that you can do right now, regardless of your skill level, to get started with homesteading.
Thank you so much for joining us.
We'll see you next time.